Maybe just throwing the amp around.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
That's my problem.
That's what he used to do on the radio show.
I think most of it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Can't hear it.
Oh.
Can't hear it.
I remember that.
And that's the truth, there is.
I know.
Signing she's supposed to be floating around somewhere. Daniel Mahaffey is attending by team, so we got him on here representing Unity Fire Department. Daniel, did Kelsey forward you a copy of the agenda?
I printed one off from the smell.
Okay, all right.
Go ahead and call the June 2025 Fire Commission meeting order. I'd like to welcome everybody here and thank you for coming. I'll ask Darren if he will open us up with a word of prayer.
Most gracious Heavenly Father, we ask that you bless this food, Lord, to the nourishment of our bodies, and ask for your service, Lord. We ask for your hand and your guidance and wisdom tonight as these commissioners discuss the business of the county and the fire service. Lord, we ask that you bless us with good health, and Lord, that you keep us safe on our jobs and duties. All this I ask in Christ's holy and precious name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Darren. All right. Everybody had a chance to look over the agenda for tonight? Any deletions or additions? Motion to approve.
Second.
Clint motion, Greg second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Minutes from May meeting. Any issues?
Make a motion.
Greg, Max second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Don't have anyone sign up for visitor comment. Let's move on to standing committee reports. SOG. Strategic planning, Mark, there's nothing there. Apparatus committee, nothing. Budget, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Kurt, nothing. On old business. Fire rescue moving forward.
Mr. Chairman, this committee hadn't met in a while. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in the presentation on budget. I'm going to go over the administrator. What you've got a copy of what we requested and what he recommended. We'll go over it a little bit when we get down to that budget item, but we'll talk about the moving forward at that point in time, because there's some things I'll point out in that budget.
All right.
Other than that, everything will be the same. We talked about it over and over and over unless somebody here's got something on it.
All right, move on to first use.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, wasn't here last month. We have a new representative for Brian. His name's Brian, and I probably didn't butcher the last name. It's Kohoff. He's from South Carolina. He was a fireman. He is retired. He's still a volunteer, and he knows exactly where we come from and how we operate. He was asking questions at our first meeting. He asked questions why they hadn't done some things, and that took place. I don't remember the date.
Several months ago.
But we do have a new rep. In the process of discussing that, one of the reasons that we're doing things I'm gonna give you some timelines of things that's happened. It's kind of threw a wrench in some stuff. On, the aid given and received, which is very important in response to doing reports and doing the NIFRS reports. It was given to them back in January. They got it finally implemented and imported on February 20th. The fire zone data and fire district data has still not been imported, and that's got to do with GIS. That's GIS layers that come out of GIS, and Jim Kiley was our GIS director slash manager. He left. Before he left, I was dealing with him on that and the fire hydrant data. The fire hydrant data that he sent First U was corrupted. The reason being, when he merged the Lancaster County water and sewer data and the city water and sewer data together, he did not look at the column clarifications, and it all got mixed up. So when he left, I was still working with him, emails back and forth, trying to get the hydrant data updated so we can get it into First U and into Active 911. Now they have named yesterday, right?
I got an email today saying the new name.
Marcus Curitan was at the city, is now the GIS point of contact for the county. It's all under IT now. IT over GIS. So I got to get up with, once Marcus gets his head straight, I got to get with him and get that connection back to First U since Jim's gone. The CAD update in April, they were already working with Tyler New World. The CAD connection is not as strong, and y'all can tell it's changing because used to we would get the First U alerts after the Active 911. Now it's before Active 911 a lot of times, but the connection issue is still a problem with CAD, and they're still working with Tyler New World, and this update was supposed to help fix that, but I think it's complicated. It matters even worse. So our new representative is trying to get his hand on what's the problem with the CAD connection. I think they're getting data two ways. They're getting it like Active 911 gets it right now because that was originally how it was set up to get us up and going, and then that straight connection, feed in, feed out connection is what they're still working on. Mike Majette has been to Indian to teach them, to tell them how he would prefer the pre-plans be done so we have a general format for doing it all over the county. He's supposed to go, I don't think he's went to Kershaw yet. Let's go to Kershaw next to get them updated on that. We're still getting some reports that are not coming in to First U, which we're trying to figure out why, along with the drug dealing, things of that nature. In August, NARIS goes online. NARIS is the reporting system that's replacing NIFRS. When NARIS goes online, NIFRS had codes. When NARIS comes online, it's all words. It's all plain language. There's certain things that NIFRS asks for, and then you were done with the report. In NARIS, it's a whole different ballgame. You get done with one report, and then it opens, as you go into it and you answer questions, it opens up more questions for you to answer. So it's going to be a whole different ballgame than going from your Excel sheet that you're doing now to NARIS. When NARIS comes online, we hope to start bringing fire departments on to do reports, starting with Indian first, Kershaw, and then as you have staff members in your station, they will help you do reports because they will be mandatory to do them reports in first U. And we'll use that to help spread out and teach. We'll have some lessons in here, some classes on doing it in here. Also, one example that we looked at, we got on a test site, is if I have a car fire. And normally in NIFRS, you would do your car fire report, and if the side of the house got burnt, you would do it as exposure, in the report, and narrative, whatnot, and then you close the report out. Well, in NARIS, when we do that, when you go to do your car fire and it asks about exposures, then you got to do a structure fire report. And it wants to know, in the structure fire side, if you just have a structure fire, it's wanting to know when the initial search was complete, your secondary search is complete, things of that nature. That's why the more information you gather on scene and your timestamps really helps. But the problem with timestamps, unless dispatch puts it in, and we'll get Darren to talk to Robert to make sure they know that timestamps will be very, very important for them to log that data. That way you have that information of when you've completed your primary search, secondary search, so on and so on. As more information in theirs comes out, we'll be sending it out. But right now, Midlands is going live in August, and that's our region is August. I got another call with him. I'll probably have a call with him while I'm at the conference, and get some more information to make sure that he's got Marcus's information, because them layers coming out of GIS, and so Marcus knows how to pull them so they can have them. Jim was working on a direct connection out of our GIS software that goes to other vendors also. He was working on that direct connection with First U when he left. Any questions that I might be able to answer? I didn't write all my notes down here. I tried to gather up some.
First, do you have a separate medical report?
If you report medical wise, NEMSIS, yes, but we have ours turned off because we don't charge for medical. So we do it as a first responder report. If we need to turn it on, we will. And the city does a NEMSIS report.
The way they're setting up, he will need that turned on to his agency. Nobody else will need that. He's going to
But it's
need
not
that
that way.
number,
You
so
just
he'll
turn it
have
on
to
or
be.
you don't. So if we turn it on, everybody has to do that report. Because it's for the whole agency.
But how would they know how, they won't even know how to do that report, will they?
I mean, it's just no different than entering any information.
That would take the place of the regular medical first responder report.
Yeah, when you get down there and it says it's a first responder call, it pops up. It starts that report. But that's what the city does that.
And just to tag on to that, I got the invoice for the renewal, and they actually went up on it. I'm not happy about that, and they know it. I'm supposed to be talking to the guy in the morning at 9 o'clock, I think. We were gonna try to talk today, but then he got busy. But, we renewed last year at their figure. First year, they gave it to us half price. First year, we paid their figure. The second year, we got it at half price. Last year, meaning in the fall, we renewed at the full price, which is 47,000, something like that. This year they went up, and I don't think they should go up until we're fully operational, because we're not us, because they didn't develop what they said they developed. Now, I may not win that argument, but that's where I'm at with it,
I
so.
don't see why we have to pay them without a product that's fully working. It's a business.
Some of it is our GIS and some issues, but it's not all of it. I can tell you there is some confusion, and it's been all along, and I don't know how to prevent the confusion, between Lancaster County and City of Lancaster. There is confusion about where the steps are, whatnot. Hopefully this new guy can help solve that issue, because when I asked about this and that, and they said, well, no, it's all right. I was like, no, it happened. It might be done for the city, but it happened done for us.
See, that, what involvement I've had with it, and I haven't been deeply involved like Billy has, but I've been in on several discussions, particularly when those discussions needed to be pretty matter of fact and frank. I think they tried to go on the cheap and use the same development team for the city and for us at the same time, and we're entirely different, because we're looking at 17 different fire department ID numbers, and the city's got one. They're used to one. They told us they could do 18, 20, or ever how many we had, but they let their mouth overload their rear end. They've been trying to develop it. That's why we have been willing to pay, but I don't think we ought to have to pay an increased price this year until we got a fully developed product and it's up and operational, so. And I'll make that argument tomorrow morning.
Our historical data from our firehouse, all of our reports prior to June of 2024 is now in first year. We can actually go back. I don't know the way it imported the recalls there, and you can read the narrative and everything, but you're not gonna be able to pull historical data back, like the report for back before June 2024. You can pull up the report and look at it, but they actually do reports off of it. How many,
Queries you're talking about?
how many brush fires or whatever. I don't think you'll be able to do that.
I do know from working with Mike on some queries that we've done since we've had First U up and operational, as far as being able to put reports in here. When you do a query, you get a lot better information than we get out of Firehouse. It has a lot more points that we can pull together. I've done several reports for council, and I like the way those reports look. There's a lot of data in them. But I think Billy's probably gonna be right. I don't know if we're gonna be able to go back and access the Firehouse data. Now, we can still run queries in Firehouse as long as that enterprise server runs, because it lives on it, it belongs to us. But I don't know what'll happen when that computer, it's already long in the tooth. I don't know if that can be transferred or not, so we'll figure that out.
Who was the example you used for the car fire? Turn it to a house fire, do we have to get a separate run number and be able to separate any of it if we all same?
It's all the same. It's not a whole new report. It's a subpart of that report.
Upgrade that call to a structure fire whenever you.
No, it does, as you're doing the report, and you go to put the structure in and exposure, it automatically goes.
It's in subheadings. You're in your initial report, which is why you were there, and then subheadings are gonna open, and you gotta put information in there for the subheading.
Billy, as far as the stations itself, other members getting access to First View, how long do you think that'll be before?
I can't answer that question.
Well, Terry, we're gonna start with the career folks,
For the career.
with Indian Land primarily being the first, because they by far have the largest number of runs. That'll cut almost a third of the calls out that these ladies in here have to worry about. So I wanted that done for a year and a half instead of being able to make it happen. But that gets them in the mix. And then once we get that in, we'll be working with Kershaw to get them in the mix. The stations that have people who work in here will probably be next in the list as we're moving them. Because when those guys who work in here are doing reports, they're gonna have to be on the clock. I can't have them doing something for free. So we've gotta figure that out. Well, I don't have an answer for that yet. So there's a lot of extraneous things that we gotta figure out policy-wise for career, and then we should be able to train people in the volunteer corps. Everybody's not gonna be able to do this. I mean, first off, you gotta be computer literate, and that narrows it down by about 50%, just from what we already know. So there, and we go from there with it. So there'll probably be a few key people in each station.
And, I mean, I was talking more so of the members actually getting the calls on First View.
Oh, you're talking about getting the app on where
They
you
should be
get
getting
the
that
notification.
already.
Well, they don't, everybody have to be set up, their email has to be put in, remember, y'all?
Yeah, I done, people calling here every day, saying everything working, so I don't know. That's Randy supposed to, tell them to,
Okay.
I thought you meant putting in the report. I didn't realize you were talking about
No,
getting the call.
no, I mean, just actually,
The
I
notification.
mean, they have the app, they just, I mean, it's just,
yeah, they need
they're
to
not
call,
getting any calls.
they need to call me individually,
Okay, alright,
so I can do whatever phone.
okay.
I got a bunch I gotta ask for anyway.
like to say something. Last month, I made a comment that I'd spoken with First Due, two members of First Due at FDIC about this, and they said it was all on us. Gonna find talking to Darren and Billy, it's not all on us, it was mainly them, and supposedly they didn't really do a lot on our stuff. I've already apologized to Billy if I, said something against him and Darren, but I wanted to make sure everybody in here understood that, obviously I spoke out of turn. I was just going by what the two people up there was telling me. So I apologize to everybody if I said something out of place, on First Due. And there again, like I said, I apologize to Billy in person. I apologize tonight that, I wasn't trying to be ugly and try to throw anybody under the bus. I was just going by what I was told. So.
Now, what he was told was it was up and running, and it is up and running. But the back end is what the guys that talked to him didn't know.
And when I talk, I think I'm gonna be talking to a CEO or somebody just under the CEO in the morning. I'm also gonna make him aware of that. When they're out at these conferences, and somebody walks up to them in a jurisdiction that they're dealing with, his salespeople need to not pop off at the mouth. They need to do a little research before they answer a question. So, 'cause that caused a lot of consternation in that meeting, and he did it not realizing that they didn't know what they were talking about.
Alright, anything else on First Due? On to, fire report.
Let's see, do we have a report? You've got a report summary on your table, but I was also gonna have Tony Gainer speak to you tonight about reports, some of which Billy's already covered, talking about NARIS as opposed to INPRS. INPRS has been around since the late nineties, I think. We've been aware of it since probably 97, 98. It may have even come in the early nineties. I'm not exactly sure when it started. That's been the way our data gets into the National Fire Reporting System at the National Fire Academy, the National Fire Administration, and that's where everybody gets their data. NARIS is the thing that's going to take the place of INPRS. And as Billy mentioned, it's not 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 codes. If you deal with those codes, I can't remember now every one of them. I know 300s are generally MVCs and medical calls. And then structure fires, can't remember the number on that either. But anyway, they divide out that way. NARIS won't do that. NARIS is going to be plain text, and it will have a whole lot more information given. And First Due is already set up for it, so that we'll be able, once we're fully into that and everything's going into it, we'll be able to do a lot more query and get more information out of our queries than we ever could out of Firehouse using the INPRS system. INPRS is very limited in the amount of data that it put out. So all of it's going to be generalized, because you got to take personal identification stuff out of it as it goes into the database. And I don't mean we take it out, the computer program takes it out. It washes that out or blanks it out as it's adding up to the data. So it's going to be critical that people put information in the narratives. It's also going to be critical that, as you're filling those reports out, the narrative is going to be what helps Julie and Sarah Jane as they're putting reports in, and Tony as he's putting reports in, know what to put in on all of that First Due information. Tony's been doing them in here now. When did I put him on that, Billy? 2 months ago?
Yep.
When after Ann left, I had to get Julie some help. So he came in and he began to do it. And so he had a whole litany of things he was going to go over tonight, and maybe he can do that next meeting, because it'll be at the end of this month. But he had something with his children he had to do tonight, so he's not able to be here. But just make everybody aware that's doing reports that the day of the one sentence narrative is gone. We will always look like an idiot if we get on a witness stand and you got a piece of paper or two pieces of paper in your hand, and you got a one sentence narrative on a case that's 5 years old, and you can't remember it. And you're gonna be sitting there with two attorneys, one for the prosecution and one for the defense. And one's gonna like you and the other's gonna be trying to make a fool out of you, and we're gonna make it real easy for them to make a fool out of us if we don't have information on the reports to be able to consistently say what we did, why we did it, and how, and what the outcome was. So there's a lot of things we're gonna have to put in those reports. It's gonna take time to do. We already have an issue with people completing reports. That's not gonna get better, meaning the reports are not gonna be easier to do. They're gonna be more difficult to do. So we're gonna have to stay on top of it. Not to beat a dead horse, but.
When we go to the Norris, is the, reports that the volunteers are using right now, that's gonna stay the same?
I'm gonna have to amend it to grab some more information that we know we're gonna need, but the narrative's still gonna be critical.
Anybody got anything else, man, to report? Move on to a new business, fire commission budget.
Everyone, you've got a sheet on your table that I handed out that has the fire commission requested 25-26 budget. I did that based on the administrator's recommendations. I was finally able to get a copy of that. I kept trying to get it out of Fusion myself, and I wasn't having much success, so I finally gave up and called finance, and Josiah helped me get it. If you go down through there, what I've got in column 1 is, of course, what we requested, or basically the documents I filled out on your behalf based on what you all told me you wanted to ask for in the new budget. And so that first column is the requested, meaning what we requested, the documents I turned in on your behalf. The second column, administrator recommendation, is what the administrator recommended. Now, you'll see that it looks like in almost every instance he never gave us what we asked for, and that is true, he did not give us what we asked for. However, if you go over to the description column, everything that's got the 2 asterisks in it has actually has an increase in the Daniel. You not muted. Actually has an increase from this current year's budget. The column 4, the line item 430-05 mileage, that's a completely brand new item. We had asked for 70,000 in training. He recommended 56,000, but he's also recommending that extra 10,000. So technically that's 66,000 for training. So that's a new item, but that represents an increase. 540 supplies general. We asked for 80. He gave us 50. Last year we had 35,000, or the current budget we had 35,000. So he did increase it from 35 to 50. The equipment general, we asked for 486, 640. That had to do with everybody getting an increase in the standard allotment, and then also adding the extra money that the fire commission could allot based on request. He didn't fund all of that. What he funded was what he recommended is 241, 489. What we had this year is 206, 201. So there is an increase there. It's just not nearly the increase that we asked for. The 551-45 is the school program. That has stayed the same for a long, long time. And I'm gonna give you some good news. That may not be enough next year. Sam's program has expanded to the point to where that 55,000, of course, turnout gear's gone up too. But we got a lot of kids coming through in that school program. So we may have to go back and ask for more money in that account, if not this year. I mean, not in the 25-26 budget for certain, probably in the 26-27 budget. 560, the equipment capitalized. That's the line item where there was always supposed to be 40,000, and they got all confused. And for 2 years in a row, meaning this year and last year, that line item got all screwed up. He did put that 40,000 back in, and so that's there. This year we had $6,100 in that line item. So it went back to 40,000 where it's supposed to be, or that's what he's recommending. Utilities, which y'all really have nothing to do with, this year we had 176,000, he took that to 179.5. That's based on projections of how things may go up in utilities. The 571 is a brand new line item. That is to pay the cellular cost on the iPads that are going to be going into the trucks. You remember this year we took that money out of special projects to pay. I don't even know if we ever got it made hot or not, but we were going to take it out of special projects to use. 590 vehicle maintenance, he took it to 288. This year we had 263. Apparatus fuel, this year we had 85. He's recommended that go to 95. Fuel is a shot in the dark. It depends on politics. It depends on a lot of things. It may come down, it may go up, but at least we'll be ready. You know, it's been a little higher on average for diesel than it had been. 591 general maintenance. We had 45 this year. He upped that to 55. Contract services stayed the same. We asked for 117,612, but he left that at 56,000. That's what it was this year. MSA interdepartmental is a new line item. But what happens there is everything that has anything to do with a maintenance service agreement, a contractual service that has to do with software licenses, all of that goes into that line item. And it is, I'll give you a rundown on what that is.
Common software or JPro, all that.
Yeah, it has to do with the maintenance stuff. Let's see, 6, 5.
That should be first due.
Yeah, it's got First U in it. It's got JPro in it, Cummins Insight Pro Marketplace, Active 911 subscription, the Knox system. We have to pay a subscription fee for what y'all hear when everybody goes on and says, give me a Knox code. That takes a subscription. So the administrator recommended, but all of that came out of that line item. It did have a slight increase over what we had this year, but it is a new line item so that they can track costs throughout the entire county about IT related agreements and service agreements. Insurance general, it had 60 in it this year. We got 70 in it for the coming year based on his recommendation, and he gave us that because Indian Land has added a lot of employees. We've also added employees in here. And the way things are shaking out, Provident bases their policy that we pay on everybody for if you get hurt, to pay the extra $500 a week above whatever workers' comp pays me where you volunteer a career, along with the disability that goes if somebody gets hurt in the line of duty. And it also has that accidental death policy, and then of course the line of duty death, double indemnity on that policy. All that's in that particular policy. They base that on the number of people that we have. So we actually have a roster. We just don't give them a number. So they base it on that. And I anticipated there'd probably be an increase in that. We'll know that pretty quick. So, but anyway, he went ahead and planned for that. So he's got that in his recommendation. Special projects hazmat. It had this year 173,587. He's taken that to 223,587. That 50,000 increase is to upgrade the house at McDonald Green when we do that, or when we're getting ready to start to move into that and staffing those folks. So he's got that in his recommended budget. The special promotions is basically the money we use to give y'all $2,000 back for insurance. We now have 17 stations, so it gives everybody $2,000. So that's where the $34,000 comes. Copier lease is a brand new line. That doesn't affect y'all, but it's that big old printer copier machine that's in the workroom in there that allows us to do all the things that we do for letter drives and everything else. Pays for the rent on the machine as well as the cost of the machine. Matching funds, he did recommend we go to 51, 115 there. I missed that one, that is an increase. We normally have, we asked for 38,000 because we've been asking for years, and they never took it up. And this year we didn't ask for anything extra, and he put more in there. Lease purchase, right now, all that's paid off. That needs to change, but it's all paid off right now. Recruitment retention stays the same every year, so that did stay the same. That's actually in the 144 budget. That's why you got 144 budget in the far left column. And the brush truck program, this year it was 296,601. Next year it'll be he's recommended to be 304,16. So that's the pickups and the truck that Billy's got to use to replace his truck. So that is the requested budget we did, the administrator's recommendation, and at this point, that's what county council adopted in first reading. Second reading will be Monday night. Also, all the fire commissioners that are going off, your replacements will be voted on for appointment on Monday night as well. That's all in the agenda package. So, any questions? You also got a copy of the DAI on the current budget expenditures in your package. If you got any questions on that, I'll try to get you an answer on that. Billy's spending money just as fast as his little fingers can type.
We got hose testing included in it?
Not yet. Not yet.
I thought the county.
The main thing we asked for.
Sir, we took it out of special projects. Y'all voted to do that, but it is not.
Thought we was gonna add it in for this year.
Well, I asked it to be added in. It didn't get added in.
What line item would that have been?
It would have been
Contractor.
Contract service?
probably, let me see if he addresses.
That's why you asked for 117, but they only gave us 56.
Yeah, 56.
Well, let me ask you this, so if you take 56 and you add 68 to it, because we were taking all the things that you just said was under, MSA and Department, that was coming out of 600.
They took the money out of 600 and made that line item. But here's what the description said, basically what I told them. Line item substantially increased, taking items not funded but requested in the previous budget, meaning the one we're in right now. Safety requires third-party servicing and testing of certain equipment such as SCBA, ground ladders, ladder trucks, SCBA cylinders hydro tested. We're in the existing budget for testing, and this budget is going to be short due to increase in the vendor cost. Hose testing must be added in this line item, as is the testing and service of extrication equipment. See, we haven't addressed that really either. Bringing the funding need to $186,000. Per IT, 8388 transferred to 60588 for software licenses, so they took that much out for that. The administrator increase not recommended. So they didn't give us any extra. They took a little bit out for the IT stuff where there was a service agreement in there. They didn't give us anything extra for that particular line item. So we didn't get anything for hose testing. The other stuff was already in there.
When's the second reading of the budget?
Monday night.
Talk to our council.
Yeah.
See if we can get changed.
What y'all did this year, what you did this year was you took money out of your special projects to pay that. So there was a few stations, remember, you could use your matching funds. There was a few stations that did that and went ahead and paid their part, and then we reimbursed them that once y'all approved taking it out of the special project.
Contractual services and, special projects got hit hard this year because the way the flow test and hose testing ended up, we ended up paying just about 1.5 times for flow testing because some of them last year ended at the end, and by the time we got the bills, it was in this budget.
Yes, the bill don't come before the first part of the 1st of August, they put it in a new budget.
And on the iPads, you talked about those, they're added that in there, where we at on that as far as getting them to the
They are
truck?
ready for me to pick up and start installing. I still got like 5 or 6 apps that they couldn't figure out. And then, I can pick them up and that can be.
So we figure out the mountain issue?
I've got 2 mounts that I talked to Greg about. We're gonna see what will work.
Okay.
So,
With that said, I'm gonna back up and one question on that. When we were talking about first due, would they be capable of all this information if we're on scene?
Yes.
That we can actually use that to
yes,
punch information in while we're on scene instead of having to write it down?
yes.
Sorry, when he said it, that's what made me think about
Yeah.
asking that. That'd be, I mean, that's a
Well,
big plus.
the iPad will be a user, like a truck.
Yeah.
But if you're doing a report, you're gonna have to sign that report at the end. You have to digitally sign it.
You mean if you complete it there?
If you complete it there.
So now let me ask this question, since he brought that up, that's something I didn't thought about. What if one person's doing part of it on scene and somebody else ends up completing it? Who ends up signing the report, or do they both sign it?
But whoever, that's gonna be tricky because whoever's logged in is the timestamp. Anything you do in first due is stamped.
Yeah.
So if, take for instance, Julie or Sarah Jane go in and change somebody's status from volunteer to paid or paid to volunteer, it's all time stamped and marked in there when it happens. So anytime you do a report, the modifications is recorded, but I had to look at it, completion of the report is the only time it makes you sign it. Otherwise, every timestamp's gonna be who's logged in, and if you log out, if we have the truck logged in and somebody logs it out, I doubt they're gonna know to log in to get the truck back logged in. Cause we're not gonna let everybody do that, otherwise somebody will be doing reports as a truck and you won't know who are doing the report.
We would start in the truck on the iPad and first.
Yeah, you can put information in it.
And then finish it at the station.
Yeah, you can do that.
So
It's all live.
That'd be a plus, I think.
That's something. Where are y'all going, Matt? Is that what y'all doing?
I mean, you can complete them on a computer, but I complete them on an iPad also.
But I mean, and then it makes
Y'all
you
gonna
sign.
do the same?
It won't have anybody, if you do it on the iPad, it won't have anybody, you have to select them to
Because
complete
you
the
have to
report.
select a user.
Yeah, you have to click your officer in charge, and you have to go to your member complete, and then you have to sign for your member complete. And then once you sign that, it locks it, so if you go back in, only somebody who has administrative
Right.
privileges can change it then.
But you can start it on the iPad, when you get back to the station, pull it up on the computer.
It just say if you want to complete.
It's easier to sign on the iPad, to be quite honest with you. You're not gonna have a signature pad on the computer, you gotta use a mouse.
You can also save your signature.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get off that.
That was a good question.
I think that's gonna be
It
good.
will make our lives a whole
I
lot
think
easier.
it'd be a good plus, cause now instead of having to write it down, if you lose that paper, you go right to the homeowner and get their information and put it in.
Any other questions on the budget?
That who's testing, if we come out of special projects, if they don't put this a line item in the budget, we come out of special projects again next
That
time.
would be up to the commission that's sitting at that time.
I guess my question, can the council change the budget from this point forward after the first reading?
Yes.
I'm gonna call my guy.
Just so you understand, and I'm not telling you to go call your councilman, so just understand that. But if you do, that's up to you. But here's how it works. First reading is first reading. Second reading, they may do changes, because they're not doing their public hearing until third reading. It'll be done right before third reading. Once they do that public hearing, they won't make any changes to that budget, because if they do, they have to vote on it and then do another public hearing, and they can't do third reading until they have that other public hearing. So at second reading, if there's gonna be any changes made, that's where they'll make them. And there's not gonna be a public hearing before that. Last year, they did a public hearing before second reading, and they didn't wanna change anything on second reading because they wanna do another public hearing. Not that they don't like public hearings, but it just takes up time. So, they can change it at second reading if they want to. This year, that's out, because I did ask Sherry, and she said, no, they're not doing the public hearing till third reading.
We sent a letter from this board to the administrator
Yeah,
and the
they've
county.
already got their package. You would be better off if you want to try to make a difference, talk to your council members individually. They'll remember what you said. Because the package went out already to the meeting Monday night. They probably went out today. So it would not be able to be added to their package. I guess they could add it to the table, but, you'd be better off to try to talk to your council if you want to make a difference Monday night.
I think they at least hear from us, know that fire commission thinks that's something that's very important.
We can do that in the morning because of the rain. We can do that in the morning, just to have the letter there and send it to them, but it'll still be more effective, I think, at that particular meeting, if you're strong opinion enough about it, to call you council.
The body agree with,
You could also
You want a letter?
you could also speak at public, speaking time.
Public comment.
Comment.
Daniel, you fix it,
They can also sign up for citizens' comments.
that's what Greg
So
is.
that's what I'm about it.
body think you could send a letter on it, or?
I think we should send a letter,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be a bad thing, if some of us sign up for citizen comments. I tell you, that host testing saves a lot of work, and it'll also help us on ISO, correct?
It will save us on ISO. That was the one thing that really had me concerned, because those hose records, they kill us if we don't have hose tests.
Trying to find your members to show up to host test. Full of teeth.
Yeah, a lot of hose fail.
No, it was,
Ours we did.
We had a good bit.
Rich Hill had a good bit, Elgin, I think y'all had
I
it.
don't think we had a whole lot. See, we'd replace all
Oh,
our
yeah,
hose all that new.
Y'all, how they're at it, all they got pieces.
All six, seven.
Oh, what?
All six, seven.
Well, y'all okay with it, we'll
Very formal.
drum up a letter and send it out, whatever, at least have that. They can't say they didn't know nothing about it.
So you said that, cause it shows a negative 542, but what was our budget last year?
For which line?
No, what was our recommend, what was our budget that they approved last year? Or this, what was this?
The current budget we're in,
What was current
the
budget?
24-25 budget.
Yes, sir.
Let's see.
While he's looking at billions, do you know what the total was for all of the hose testing?
I got it in yonder.
It's like a ballpark.
I did not.
If this number's right, and sometimes there's discrepancies in what Fusion has, because of the way things add in. Looks like 1,353,749, and the one he's recommended is 1,582,631.
we got 2 million on this paper, 174, 2,174,290.
As long as you got 144 in the fund to look at it.
It's got Fund 11 in it.
So the budget did go up.
It's got Fund 11 and the 274,530 out of the 144 budget. I'm just giving you numbers straight out of 141 only.
So the budget did go up, it's just.
Yeah,
some of the things he
that's
asked
why
for.
I went over it the way I did. He gave us increases. He just did not give us what we asked for. Yeah, I didn't want you to think he didn't, he just, everything was the same or less. He just did not give us hose testing.
What was his reasoning on that? Not give us make the hose testing a line item. What was his reasoning on that? He just don't like us?
We won't use Mexico.
Well, we did find a way.
I mean, I just don't agree that we need to keep using special projects, cause I think there's things that we need to buy as a fire service that we can use special projects for, and not, they need to get hose tested.
Around 56, 57,000.
Or like Sam said, if something pops up that catches us kind of per se off guard, that's there to be able to use if something does.
To my special project.
Yeah.
Well,
That's what it's always been.
Well, see, history, that's how we bought the fire vent trailer that we bring around to use at the fire departments. We used 2 years worth of special projects. It was a great godsend for, you know, the ones that have used it and the ones we're still trying to get out there to use it. I like that money being there, that we know if we run, or us as a commission run across something that would benefit the county, it's there to use. But if we're using it to do hose testing, we're really not growing or getting anywhere with the stuff we need to put out around this county.
If he's not going by your word on what, just like the hose testing, if it's mentioned that the hose testing is a plus for us and that we would like to have that in the new budget, I don't understand why he's not taking that into consideration. I mean, it almost looks like he's going through and picking and choosing what he thinks that we should have increased instead of going by what we're asking to have increased. I mean, wouldn't it be smarter to go by what you're putting in or what we're putting in to have increased? Because there's a reason behind it each time.
Here's how it works. He did listen because we did get increases. We did not get what we asked for, but we did get increases. But you got to understand, we're one department out of 30 or 40 county departments. The sheriff gets a lot, but he didn't get everything he asked for either. Neither did EMS. Now, EMS is getting nine more employees. But I don't think there's anybody in this room that would deny the fact that we need more ambulances on the street. And some of them are going to be working with Indian Land to try to do a little better service level and not tie ambulances up on some calls. They're working together. That's partnership. That has yet to be completely fully developed, but at least they're putting the manpower in there to do it, or the personnel in there to do it. So it's not that he discounts us entirely. It's not that he doesn't like us. It's not that he is the county administrator, not the fire department administrator. I did what y'all asked me to do. I didn't cut. I didn't, I did. Now, if I had thought you were crazy about asking for something, I'd have told you that sitting in this room. Then you'd have made a decision on whether you want to do that or not. But everything you asked to be done, I was fully able to justify. But everybody else is fully justifying what they need to. And nobody gets everything we ask for. That's his job, and that's part of his job. He would love to give us everything. And I gotta tell you, I don't know if y'all watch what's going on, but there's $8 million worth of revenue they think is this year coming up that we've never had that kind of revenue before. So even with all the increases they're doing, the millage is actually going down 12 mils. I think it's 12 and a half mils. The value of a mill is just a few dollars short of $600,000. And I don't remember exactly what it was when I first came to work here, but I'm thinking it was less than $240,000. So the mill has drastically increased in value. So it's not that he doesn't listen to us, but he's got to decide. So in essence, some of it is him picking and choosing what that's his job by law. The state statute says the administrator has to do a recommended budget. Sometimes council just throws it out the window. In all the years I've been in this county working and doing volunteer service, this is the first year, and I'm almost at my 50th year since Belltown started, the first year I ever saw council take the administrator's recommended budget and adopt it in first reading. And that's what they did. They actually increased some things, but they didn't cut anything out or change a whole lot that he said. That's the first time I ever saw that happen. And I lost money going into that meeting if it happened, because it just never happened. So they're funding a lot of stuff this year that there's a whole lot more being done this year than has usually ever been done in any one year in this county. Now, I hope revenue continues to go up like that, because we got a long way to go to catch up. Us, the sheriff, the EMS, and even the county agencies. They're all short-staffed. Everybody needs more, but typically public safety is the number one priority. Well, not typically, it is the number one priority based on their own strategic plan. So fire, EMS, and the sheriff get first dibs on about everything going. And then they try to fund the rest of the departments. Where are we at with the truck purchase? That's part of the CIP, one of the CIP discussions. They did mention that when they were talking about the budget, but they didn't get into a discussion on that at all. I don't know if that'll be addressed somewhat at second reading. They're looking for funding sources, trying to figure out how they want to fund things, and that's going to then determine where that discussion goes and how quick it moves. But it is on their plate. I mean, it's not like they've forgotten it, because it is still mentioned just about every meeting at some point.
Any other comment on budget? On to a call type.
Called him about something, what was it, do you remember, Bill? It wasn't anything drastically wrong. I know that y'all have talked about that drug dealing thing that comes up. He's trying to figure out what that is. Oh, I know what it was. There was some, y'all don't know this, but there was some first few, when CAD updated, there was like, 12 or 14 calls that did not populate in the first few at all when they brought CAD back up.
Indiana lift assist are not popular.
Yeah. So he's working on, well, number one, he went back and got the CAD reference numbers so that Julie could add it and figure out how to add a report. So Billy got that figured out for us. So she's added those back in, and then the lift assist issue, he's trying to work on that to figure out what's going on with that. But as far as things on the radio and that kind of thing, I don't think we addressed anything, or had to address anything this month, or this last 30 days.
Anything else, call type? AFG grant.
Nothing to report on that. We did finally, McDonald Green has the check on their 5% match. It took a long time to get that done, but it is done, and it came out of council account, so. And the other check you all have, those of you that have checks at your sites, everybody doesn't have one, but everybody's got a check. That is your telephone internet reimbursement for your station that we normally do in January or February. At least we meaning me, because everybody else is responsible. Go home. I almost forgot it, but we did remember to get it done. Some chiefs have come through and I handed them their check when they came through. Some Reed County did not mail them. They put them in an envelope and sent them to me. So as people came through, I gave them their check. So if your station doesn't have a check, if you don't have one in here, somebody in your station, probably your chief, has already gotten that.
That's by a percentage of what the, average phone bill is?
Sir?
That check amount, is that the percent, is there a certain percentage?
About
What
2 or 3 years ago, we established what was gonna go on based on bills from the stations. And that's just where it's at. About every 5 years, we try to look at it again and readdress it and see if it can go up. We would need to do that, if y'all wanna do it, we need to do that early in the year so that we can turn that in with the budget request as part of something that needs to be done to
Yeah,
update.
I think we need to do that, cause ours is all.
Well, all we pay for, or even attempt to pay for, is the basic service, basic phones and basic internet. A lot of stations' bills are a lot higher, but they got other stuff added in there that we don't pay for.
I think with the internet and the phone and all that going up, I think we need to go up on that percentage.
So you shouldn't have to worry about that once yours turns over.
Well, I mean, that's just a deal, if we only see one car basis.
Well, Greg, I think theirs is almost $30,000 a year up there. Yeah, that's the most budget.
It goes about every other month. It ain't much, but it goes about every.
Comporium loves fees, and the universal access and the United States access and the access for everybody that don't want to work for a living to get stuff free and all that other, that makes it go up, it bounces back and forth.
Clint said he got it.
Who?
Clint said he got it.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, it's recorded, y'all, it is my job,
Clay, you get a bonus out of this?
He does.
Yeah, this is recorded on my thing, and it is recorded for posterity, so.
Alright, we're moving on. Thank you, Mr. Lane. Grant update.
Nothing to report other than the Safer grant is open. It's open into July. We're gonna try to apply. I don't know exactly what we're gonna say, because we've applied the last 4 years in a row, got nowhere. But we're gonna try to revamp it and ask for more full-time, help. Before council, you know, that's how we got our original 10 was on Safer grants. Also how we got a recruitment retention program. So, we have been successful in the past, it's just, We haven't been the last 3 or 4 years, so.
Anything else on Grant? Trainer report?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I'm gonna go over the trainer report. In front of you, you'll have the, July to December classes. If you look, the only, auto education is the only class that doesn't have a full number out beside it. Looked at that today. I'm gonna get clarification, but I'm pretty sure JD doesn't have any education classes in for our region, but I think it's all based on trailer availability for the class. So I think that's what he's probably waiting on, is to get clarification of when we can have the trailers. And then that will go active, because it's not on the website yet to sign up for. If you have anybody for EVDT, please get them to sign up, so we can try to make that class go. After that class, we'll somewhere in the mix schedule a Class E licensing. Brett will be back in 2 weeks, or a week and a half, so when he gets back, we'll be able to look at that. Hopefully we can get enough to take it. Firefighter 2, it starts in September. And then we have low angle rope ops. If you want to take low angle rope ops, there's an online, I think 3309, that you need to take. It's Introduction to Technical Rescue. Get with us, we'll get you through that. But that class, I know a lot of people need low angle rope ops. Then we have a hazmat awareness, which will prepare us into the next year of training, December 2nd and 3rd. We did have it a little later, but due to the fire academy having employees, they get off for Christmas. We moved that to that's a Tuesday and a Wednesday night. So if you got any new members coming in, we'll get them signed up for that. High school program, we finished with 9 seniors. They passed everything all the way up through IFSAC Hazmat, IFSAC Fire 1, and IFSAC Fire 2. They all graduated. Some are going to college, some one, he actually started this week as full-time at the city. And I've got others that when they finish college, they'll be coming back to go to work too, hopefully get hired somewhere. All 8 juniors, they passed IFSAC Fire 1, and they'll be returning next year to complete the program. Next year, we talked a little bit about it, but I'm going to a 1-year program. So instead of having them 2 years, junior, senior year, I will only have them either their junior or senior year, which to me is a plus, because I'll have more time with them in the morning, so I'm not so rushed to set stuff up and then break it down. So that'll work out good. Like Darren said, I had started out with a number of 13, and I've narrowed it down to 11 because 2 are not 16 yet, but I still hadn't got any report from Anyland, so I don't have anybody right now from Anyland High. So I'm hoping that they just didn't get their request sent in to us or whatever, but I hope that I can fill my last 4 spots with them. If that happens, like Darren said, we're gonna have to go for more money, because $55,000 will eat up 15 sets of gear very quickly.
That may be something we actually have to come back and ask y'all for special.
And there won't be no more, but right now we may be okay with that. Upcoming rescue training classes, once Bridge gets back, we're gonna finalize this some more, but we got rescue struts. Since everybody's got the 42s now, we're actually gonna try to set up, it's probably gonna be more in the September time frame, go around trying to try to group some stations together and go over those rescue 42s, setting those up. Airbags, not to speak on what, and I don't know if he'll speak on it, but Billy's working on that. The airbags coming in. Once he gets all that completed, we get them onto the trucks. We're going to start that after we do the strut training. So we'll be coming around. Hopefully we'll be able to bring a cache of equipment with us when we come. That way when we teach the airbags, we'll have different objects to lift, equipment and trailers, whatnot. IST program, of course, that's the same. Makeup volunteers on the first Wednesday is always here at DOC. Second, Kershaw, and the third Wednesday, Inland. And like I've said before, if you have members that want to come and train with us, please let them reach out to us first, because I don't need, not that I don't want, or we don't want people just walking in to Inland or Kershaw and then look at them and say, well, I'm here for training. I'd rather them be prepared and know that somebody's coming to be with them. We are on the IST 2225. Still out there for social media highlights and station history. I've fallen slack on that myself, but we really need to get together with this and get with Gary Baker to let him do some stuff on your stations before some of your older members cross over to the upper room. But please work on that. And I'll say Gary does a good job. Sorry, I didn't mean to say it like that, but he did a little piece on our. He works full time for Indian, but he won the national competition last year down in Atlanta, and I'm taking one last week of this month. But he did a piece on Landon for winning last year, and then the three that I had win state this year or place first, second, third, and it turned out really good. If you've never heard yourself talk on video, it is a little hard to watch yourself, and then you criticize yourself like, why did I say that? But don't be scared. It's not that bad. When y'all see it, y'all can laugh at me. But get that together, please, so we can do that. And I'm telling you, he's really good. If y'all watch Pleasant Valley, it's good. All right, now there is a first responder class, and it is starting this month on the 17th. Now, if you've just got some people that doesn't work, or they work a different shift, they can make these dates, please let us know. But they're going to do it from 9 to 5. It'll start June 17th, be on the 17th, 20th, 24th, 27th, July 2nd, 11th, 14th, and 18th. And it will finish up. So if you have some people that are available, especially if you got some of my high school kids that doesn't have it and they're not working and they can make these dates, let me know if we get a minute. And that is all I have to report at this time, other than, I said in the middle of this, I will be June 23rd through the 28th. Please keep Mr. Caleb Baker in your prayers, because we will be in Atlanta, hopefully trying to win another national competition.
Where's the EMS first responder at?
It's going to be at the headquarters. Sorry, I didn't put that in there, but it'll be at EMS headquarters.
We did not have a training officer meeting, so.
Yeah, I think we, I still got some money coming in from stations. It's really helped the program. I mean, I didn't have to go out and do fundraisers and sell chocolate chip cookies to try to make money, so it really worked.
That's pretty good, because Girl Scouts got us altered when they tried to sell cookies.
I'm saying, if we wanna make a donation towards that, we just give a few bucks.
Yes. Yeah, I've had people give me, fire departments, they write the check out to LCSDCC, and she created it's just our account. So that'll go towards the program. With that, I have reached out. So every year, and y'all know the program, we fund it, right? So the school gives us the room, but they have opened it up for me over the years to ask for stuff. So I asked for my first big purchase that I've talked to the principal about. Any of you that follow stuff, there's a Max Firebox. I'm hoping they buy this for the program. If it does, we'll better bring it out and use it. But it's a thermal imaging tool where we can teach heat transfer and all that. It's right at 21,000. So the way I heard the principal talk to me the other day, I think he might try to get it for the program. So keep your fingers crossed.
What's the grant program that they have access to at the Career Center?
They get money.
Yeah, they do get money. We're a completer program for them, so they get quite a bit of money off of the completer program.
We actually give the most certificates in the whole business.
Yeah.
What did you say the checks had to be made to?
LCSD and then CC. So just all in one, Lancaster County School District Career Center.
Okay.
And if she puts that, I do have receipts. I've got to go back to and find them, because it's a weird system where when she puts it in, it sends me an email back with receipts. So I got emails with where I give her 2 or 3 checks at a time. I will be going through that this summer when I have time, and I will get that back to the stations that have donated. So if you have donated, I will get that back to you. People that have given me cash, I always attach a name to that, cause I've had some firemen just give cash donations to the program. And then that receipt will be on that too.
Have you thought about contacting the Nutramax?
I did last year and they declined to give any money to the program. Yes, I reached out, when we were trying to raise money last year for me taking Landon. And they just said at this time, we can't give you any money for that. So I did not reach back out this time. There is a virtual program that I'll be working with next year too, to, put out there to try to gain some money from the community to help the program. And me and some of my graduated seniors, I'm actually taking 8 kids or 8 semi-adults down to the beach next Saturday for a competition. They were talking to me today, telling me that I really need to get an Instagram or something that the young people are on, an account made just for our school program. And if I do, they'll push it out hard. They're bought into the program. They want as many kids as they can come through as they can.
You need to coordinate that through Gary Baker.
Well, that's why I have not reached to that point yet. I just know they would like for me to do that. So
I think he actually already has one established for the county that you might could tie into. They're on a lot of different social media. I think the only thing we've done fire is Facebook. We've got the LCFR Facebook page. But
yeah, I was blessed to be able to get a camera this year that I used to video a lot of the stuff we do. So I'm taking as much video as I can possibly do while I'm teaching that doesn't affect me. So I can start building some stuff, promotional videos to try to promote the program more.
he wants to be Lancaster's newest influence.
No, it's not me talking, it's just me taking video of them working.
I think y'all done a great job with that program, and we need to do all we can to help, not just continue it, but help grow it.
And I talked to these youngins. I mean, I've got some that just have not showed any interest in volunteering, but they love the program. But I try to get every member to be a volunteer. I think out of my senior class this year, all 9 of them that graduated, I got 1 right now or 2. I got 2 that's not members of the fire department, but that's it out of the 9.
We did put stoves back on them this year
Well, we've always had them. I was just
at graduation.
quick to get them.
So I don't know if y'all I didn't go to all their graduations, but I did go to AJ's, so we had 2 students down there. But that stove stands out, because every student doesn't have a stove, showing some kind of accomplishment. They do, I think the Career Center just does little ropes, don't they?
This is road.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're the only agency that they allow stoves to be on.
And we had to fight to get that. They did not want to do that to start with.
No further questions, that's all I have to report.
Move to maintenance report.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, as Sam alluded to, the rescue jacks are out there. Not rescue, rescue jacks
Excuse me,
are out there.
rescue jacks.
The airbags are here for those that don't have airbags already. I'm waiting on, and hopefully tomorrow to get the protection pads and the 2 extra hoses. What we're trying to do is make the sets equivalent to what was bought in the past, and each set had had 4 hoses. So I'm trying to get 2 more hoses and the protection pads for each set. And then once that happens, we'll get them shipped out. We'll get everything logged in, serial numbers, and get them shipped out to the stations. Get that done. This week, or this month's been a very trying month parts wise. 1001 right now, we're waiting on a turbo. Turbo is back ordered. We went through 3 ECMs on 1001, and now we have a turbo that we think is malfunctioning. Along with that, I'm waiting on a turbo controller with actuator for, it's called a VGT, for 301 102 and 1702. Them 3 trucks are needing a turbo actuator, but I can't get them because there's none available. So they are still in service. 1001's out of service for right now, but we got everybody looking for the parts. It's a matter when they get there. We had a problem with the EGR valve on 1441, the old 1441, just ladder 3 now, and we actually had to go aftermarket on it, and then end up the original come in and we swapped it out. So it's, don't ask me why parts now is hidden. I've got a thought that maybe tariffs have something to do with it, but I also think that companies are using tariffs to make extra money. And I can tell you we've hit an update or a price increase for anything Elkhart and Akron brass right now. So
But anything with metal in it's gonna get hit with tariffs, because we have very little metal in this country, most of it comes from Canada or other countries.
that stuff, things of that nature, even though some of the tariff has been abolished, the companies are still using it as a way to make more money. No different than doing this COVID. They use it as an excuse. But that's where we're at today. Right now, 1001 and 1501 is going out of service. 1501, we got the windshield replaced in it, and we pulled the foam pump because the foam pump was leaking. Went to repair it, and 2 of the nuts, barrel nuts, were seized. And we actually got the rods back from Pierce overnight. They actually were here the next morning when we got here, but the nuts are not even going to ship till it's June the 8th. So we've got a truck down because we're missing 2 little stainless pieces that we need to put back together. So June the 8th comes, they'll get shipped, and we'll get them. I'm not exactly sure why we couldn't get them like we did the rods. They all the same parts, but they did. That's all I got.
Any questions?
Something different I was asked to bring up, if a county employee makes a maintenance request at the station, any way that we can make it to where at least the chief or somebody gets notified?
Yeah, we can.
So that way, there's no miscommunication.
I can tell you, I'm getting a lot of maintenance requests, and I can tell you right now, the stack batteries like that. And we're doing all we can do, as much as we can do in a day.
I was just wondering, like, they're emailing you or turn them in or whatever, is there a way maybe just to copy?
We can, and hopefully in the near future, when it starts getting put in first queue, the chiefs will be notified. But there again, first queue's trying to work that out, where the problem is, how it's separated out, the boards, you remember, you deal with that at the city. Had to have actual board for each fire department, so when it goes into that board, then it'll go to that then response for recipients.
Wow, man, we're off.
Versus doing it one person right now. So yeah, it's what we're working on in the future. But yes, there is. I've got probably 25 maintenance requests right now that come in the last 3 days. So
Not just from East Springs.
no, not just for experience, but if I go to open it up, I reckon as I open them up, I can email them to the chiefs, so they have that knowledge. One more thing, we have interviewed 3 individuals for the position that we have open in the maintenance division. The decision has not been made yet, but hopefully will be made tomorrow or first of next week, and then we can announce who's going to take that place, that position. That will help a lot when we get some more people in here. And still we behind. So.
Move on to a budget. The DAI, I mentioned a while ago when we were talking about the budget, but if anybody's got any questions, I can assure you that those totals are down substantially. Remember, this is through the end of May, and it doesn't really have everything even then to the end of May, but, we've been working it. The way the budget works, we have to make sure we don't expend everything early, because you can end up with a pump going out, you have to have money, you can end up with turbos going out. What do they cost? $8,000? Yeah.
So like example, right now, we have one Zodiac out of service and one motor out of service. And they're at the individuals, I got the quote that we got to, take care of tomorrow, for repair of the motor. But I don't have a quote for the repair on the motor yet, Zodiac.
And we may have to buy a brand new boat on it.
That's Belltown stuff, right? That's about Belltown.
The motor, yes,
Motor.
not the boat.
Speaking on boat, like, when they were purchased, what was that purchase out of? What was that?
It came out at 40,000. That's what it's for, to buy the high dollar rescue equipment. And the gators that we bought, also, we just planned them over different years.
So that's in the budget.
It's back in the budget. It was not for 2 years, but it's back now. In the recommended budget, that does not mean it ends up in the final budget, but it's.
The insurance did pay for the repair of the motors.
Yeah.
Most of it.
But barring any questions, that's the DI and that's part of that.
Budget. Station or not?
I want to say something. I'm sort of getting back to a normal self. I appreciate everybody pray for me. I think I'm over the hill, not over the hill like Sam.
I wonder if you're gonna rephrase it.
I did. I thought about it. So hopefully I'm gonna get back to running calls here pretty soon. I'm not quite there yet. But, and one other thing, I'm gonna apologize about the Chiefs conference, or Chiefs, thing we had last month. I don't think nobody was here at Belltown, is that correct?
Well, I was sick, so I don't know. I wasn't here. Yeah, that's when I was running through.
No, you were here, cause I called.
Y'all had pizza.
Chiefs pizza.
Oh, yeah.
Chiefs meeting, that's what the Chiefs meeting.
Yeah, Chief Mick, yeah.
Yeah.
I was the only one here
Yeah.
from Belltown.
Well, I was on the way, and my wife called with a flat tire in Rock Hill, and so I had to go there. And she had told me, you know, I called Darren trying to get that little blue truck that runs around. She said, yeah. She said, I was a test. You didn't want that blue truck to come change my tire. I'm glad I went.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, she was just teasing, but yeah, I did go change the tire. Well, the little donut tire was about half flat. So.
Yeah, he called me back. He thought he was gonna go change the tire and come back to the meeting. He called me, he said, the donut tire's almost flat. I don't know when I'm gonna get away from here. And it was on the off ramp at the interstate, I think, too.
Yeah,
So
right
it wasn't like she was sitting at QT okay and able to get her a coffee, but.
Well, that everything didn't work at QT either, so
Oh,
we
it
had
did?
to cross the road.
Okay.
But we made it back. But I appreciate everybody.
But no chief star.
Tim, we're glad you are heading in the right direction.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Anything else? Get a motion?
Second.
Chris?
Give Billy just a second to get us off the air and you can keep loose and free again.